are moving on to Lesson 7, the Gupta Empire. Let's look at your digital notebook. It is a shorter digital notebook, only 5 pages. Our first page is our vocab words. Page 2, you have 2 of your mastery check questions. Page 3, there are 2 mastery check questions. Page 4, 1 mastery check question. And page 5, none of those mastery check questions. Let's go ahead and start listening to your lesson.
Lesson 7. The Gupta Empire. After the collapse of the Maurya Empire, India broke into many small kingdoms. Armies from the north and west invaded India repeatedly. Meanwhile, trade brought Indians into contact with China, Southeast Asia, and the Roman Empire. Invaders and traders brought new ideas from the ancient Greeks and other peoples. Indians built on these ideas to make their own advances in art, literature, math, and science.
All right, let's go ahead and watch the lesson video.
The great emperor Chandragupta Maurya had managed to unite most of India in his empire. His grandson Ashoka had brought in new ideas and ways of governing. But later emperors couldn't manage the huge territory, and the Maurya Empire fell apart into many small kingdoms. About 500 years went by. Then, about 1600 years ago, another ambitious leader, Chandragupta I, came along. Most likely he was named after that first great emperor, and maybe that inspired him. In any case, he gradually established the new empire in the valley of the Ganges River. His son added still more land, and his grandson Chandragupta II added still more land and turned it into another great empire. It covered a lot of the same land as the Mauryan Empire. The rulers of the earlier Mauryan Empire had been very hands-on, trying to manage every part of their huge territory. The Guptas were different. They left a lot up to local leaders, governors in the provinces, local leaders in the towns. Guilds of merchants and craftsmen actually chose people for the city council. At that time, that amount of political influence was very unusual for citizens in an empire. The Gupta Empire lasted a little more than 200 years, then fell apart after invasions. But it was an exciting time for artists and writers and architects. You can still see its effects in Indian arts and culture today, even in the movies. While the earlier empire had followed Buddhist ideas, the Guptas favored Hinduism, but both religions had an influence on art. Both Hindus and Buddhists built temples and monasteries. Music and dances retold stories from literature. Fables were popular, and so were the plays by Kalidasa, who wrote in Sanskrit. Because of trade, Indians picked up new ideas from Greece and Persia. In turn, the new game of chess invented in India spread both east and west. Scientists and mathematicians in India were making new discoveries too. It was Indian mathematicians who made maybe the most important advances of the time: the idea of zero, the use of numerals, and the decimal system. Numerals are the symbols that stand for an actual number or quantity. We often call these Arabic numerals, but they actually originated in India. Indian scientists made discoveries in other fields too. Astronomers studied eclipses and found that the Earth rotates to cause day and night. Doctors developed a new system of medicine called Ayurvedic, which is still in use today, and found some new medicines. Indian metalworkers found better ways of working metals such as iron. India's discoveries from this time are still important today. Why was the Gupta era an important time in Indian history?
All right, let's look at your vocabulary words. You've already experienced these as you've already done your Freyer. We have citizenship, membership in a state or community which gives a person civil and political rights and obligations. Numeral, symbol used to represent a number. Decimal system, counting system based on units of 10. And metallurgy, science that deals with extracting metal from ore and using it to create useful objects. Go ahead and pause my video and get these 4 words defined in your digital notebook now. All right, let's move on to page 2 in your digital notebook. Click Next in your e-text if that is what you are using. I'm going to remove that wall. The first question you'll find in this first circled paragraph: which Gupta emperor first expanded the empire from northern India to the south? The second question, which is also a mastery check question: under whose reign did the Gupta Empire reach its greatest size? And lastly, in this pink highlighted text, you'll find who was Fazian. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. We'll find out as they read it. So let's go ahead and listen.
A new empire in India. About 500 years after the Mauryas, the Gupta dynasty reunited northern India. Chandragupta I, the first Gupta ruler, may have been named after the founder of the Maurya Empire, Chandragupta. Like the first Maurya emperor, Chandragupta I dreamed of building an empire. He gained power over a kingdom in the Ganges basin and ruled from about 320 CE to 335 CE. He expanded his territory across the Ganges basin through alliances and wars of conquest. Chandragupta's son, Samudragupta, conquered most of the remaining small kingdoms of northern India, calling himself the exterminator of kings. Samudragupta also conquered lands to the south and west. Under Samudra's son, Chandragupta II, the Gupta Empire reached its greatest size. He conquered areas along the west coast. Then, like Asoka, he tried to bring peace and prosperity to India. Unlike the Mauryas, the Guptas did not try to rule their entire empire directly. Instead, they left most decisions in the hands of local leaders. Governors controlled provinces. Village and city councils made decisions at the local level. In each village, the leading families sent representatives to the council. In the cities, guilds or groups of merchants or craftsmen working in the same line of business sent representatives to the city council. People living in the Maurya Empire were subjects with a duty to obey. The people of the Gupta Empire were also subjects, but some also had a kind of citizenship or a status with political rights and obligations. A Buddhist monk from China named Fa Shen visited India under the Guptas. He wrote, primary source: the people are numerous and happy. If they want to go, they go. If they want to stay, they stay. The king governs without corporal physical punishments. Fa Shen, a record of the Buddhistic kingdoms. Under later Gupta rulers, the empire faced new invaders from the west. Parts of the empire broke away. The last Gupta ruler died around the year 540.
Number 1. Which Gupta emperor first expanded the empire from northern India to the south? You'll find that answer in this first circled paragraph. Number 2. Under whose reign did the Gupta Empire reach its greatest size? You'll find that answer in this second circled paragraph. And lastly, number 3. Who was Fa Shen? You'll find that answer in this pink highlighted text.